Good and Erev Shabbos, everyone. It is November 13th, Friday the 13th. It's an ominous date, but that's because I think the last time we had Friday the 13th was in March, and that's when we had to shut down the shul. And let's hope that everybody is healthy, staying safe, as we see some numbers starting to go up around us, but let's hope that this is something that we can manage and work through, and hopefully with our careful approach to the way we run things, that we won't get shut down again. This Shabbos also is Shabbos Mevarchim. We're going to bench Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Rosh Chodesh is going to be on Tuesday, Habolein Latova, which means Kislev, which means it's already Hanukkah. So lots of great things to look forward to. Tomorrow in Shul, I hope that a number of you will join us here in Shul. It's tonight begins the yard site for Mr. Sam Halpern. Zechron L'Vracha. It's hard to believe it's been 7 years already. May his neshama have an aliyah. And I also want to take this opportunity to wish a very happy milestone birthday to our treasurer, Ari Wise, celebrating his birthday this Shabbos as well. It's no secret, and you'll see attached to this email is a shir that I gave earlier this week in tribute to Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zechron L'Vracha, and also our thought questions, our Torah for the table this week, which is attached, is also based on the writings and teachings of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. So turning on the news right after Shabbos and hearing this horrible news. I heard terrible news before Shabbos that Rav David Feinstein Zatzal, as I'd mentioned, he actually read the Ketubah at our wedding. Our family has a connection with him. And a Gadol Ador here in New York was lost. And then after Shabbos, hearing one of the greatest teachers, educators, thought producers, and somebody who was able to reach such a broad audience, that was gone way too soon at the age of 72. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest with you. And if I could even put into words how much of his teaching has, and his writing has affected the way I look at Judaism, the way I look at God, morality and ethics, etc., I can't put that into words. And that's a loss that, and it's a void that will not soon be filled, but we must. So I'm thinking about that as our pre-Shabbos Devar Torah. And of course, in the beginning of the Torah reading, Chayei, we read about death. And what does one do after death? Vayu Chayei Sarah. Sarah Imenu, she dies, and Avraham spends the rest of the parsha moving forward. We'll discuss this a little bit more tomorrow, again, based on the teaching of Rabbi Sachs. My remarks tomorrow will be dedicated to Rabbi Sachs as well. And yes, the phone rings here. And what happens is that, what does somebody do after a loss, after such a tremendous loss? What are you supposed to do? Do you give up? Is my career over? Is everything done? And we find something very interesting. First of all, the bulk of the parsha, which is finding a wife for Yitzchak. Avraham wastes no time. And even though his career may, in a sense, be over, but still, he realizes that he still has to build this covenantal community. But if you look at the beginning of the parsha, I'll share with you an insight we've touched on many times, an insight from Rabbi Soloveitchik. And the pasuk says, "Vayavo Avraham lispod l'sara v'liv kosa," that Avraham came to eulogize Sarah and to cry for her. And the Rav pointed out that in the normal course of life and death, the natural reaction when hearing that someone beloved to you has passed, lo aleinu, is filled with emotion and one cries. Only once one can gather one's thoughts and think about it and put something pen to paper, or nowadays, eulogies are read off phones these days. But only once you can get your thoughts together and kind of put your mind in a place where it can function, then we give hesped, we give a eulogy. So why does the Torah write it out of order? Lispod l'sara v'liv kosa. He comes to be masped her, he eulogizes her, and then he cries. Soloveitchik says that Avraham Avinu was a believing person. He believed in the covenantal community. He believed in, and that's a term that Rav Soloveitchik coined, by the way, covenantal community. And he understood that dying is as much a part of life as living. He could deal with that. But once she's gone and he eulogizes her and he realizes everything that he was able to accomplish in this world was because of Sarah Imenu, was because of his partnership with her. Then it hits him in a new sense of liv kosa. It's a new type of crying. It's not the initial reaction crying. It's the crying of assessing of wow, what is my life going to be like without my partner? What is my life going to be like without this loved one? And that's the eulogizing followed by the crying, because then it hits you just in a new sense. And I was thinking a lot about that this week, because I guess I've taken it for granted that for years and years there would always be in my inbox every week a Torah from Rabbi Sachs, which, by the way, appeared this week because in his series Covenant and Conversation, his office sent out a note this week that he had actually prepared for the entire 5781, so they're going to be sending it out this year, which is incredible. And someone who always studied and somebody who always learned. So I want to make a recommendation to you, because I'm trying to absorb the enormity of this loss, and I'm going to show you in a second what I mean. But his writings, his teachings, his videos, if you don't want to read, are so accessible. And you should hear him speak the Queen's English, and you should hear him give Torah lectures, or this TED Talk that's attached. You'll see in the shir that I gave that's attached to this email, or to read a weekly Parsha item, or to get any of his books. And he wrote a lot of books. And when we sit and we eulogize, and then we realize what we have lost, and that there will be no more new writings from Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, that's something that's a crushing blow to someone like me, and people who educate, and people who want to inspire, and people who look for inspiration. The reason I say this, so we're gonna turn a little bit remote here. What I've assembled on my table here. Look at that. That's probably, I'm just counting 3, 6, 9, 10, 15, 18, over 20 books. Every single one of those books written by Rabbi Sachs or edited by Rabbi Sachs. Books on the Torah, books on morality, books on dealing with loss, dealing with the other, radical responsibility. And this doesn't include, by the way, the number of commentary that he wrote on the Machzer, on all our holidays. And he has an extensive, you can see up here, these white volumes here are all about Rabbi Sachs's commentary on the holidays and on all the writings of the Machzer, and his commentary on the Chumash, on the actual current Chumash we have, and on the Siddur, the current Sachs Siddur. It makes you feel like about this big when somebody who in 72 years was able to accomplish that much, was able to write that much, was able to reach that many people. And when you look at it, and I actually physically, I had to put them all in one place. I had to go from different shelf to shelf and find all my books. And most of them that I've read, and I want to reread them. And when I look at that, Lispod, and then Liv Kosa, a new type of sadness ensues, the kind where I can't, now I'm absorbing the enormity of this loss for Klal Yisrael and for the world. But, like Avraham Avinu, we have to move on. We have to continue building. We have to continue studying, continuing our covenantal community, as it were. So, in the merit of someone who's such a gadol, someone who inspired so many, maybe it's time for us to commit. Say, like, you know what is it that I can contribute? What are they going to say about me? What are they going to say about you when you're gone? Your contribution to the world. And it's never, ever too late. So, I hope that the neshama of Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, should have an aliyah. I hope that we will commit to studying and teaching and sharing his Torah for many, many years to come, and that we will soon hear very, very good news in Klal Yisrael. So again, on this somber week, but as we head into Shabbos Mevarachim, Shabbos, we have to be happy, and happy we will be. I hope everyone has a restful, healthy, peaceful Shabbos. I look forward to seeing you all in Shul, and again back here in this format. Shabbat Shalom.